Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever and wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I am your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. Joining me today to talk about our hat trick, our bold call of a hat trick from last night, our single entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing pretty well. You know what it is? Like, I've known you in the DFS space for a while, and it felt like when you were talking about Boldy yesterday, you were recommending the Rangers, which you almost never do because whether you like to admit it or not, you hate the team. But when you when you recommend them, you know it's always like, oh shit, whoa, look at me, I'm starting the show with violence. You're like, wow, you just got to lock in the Rangers. And that was kind of the feel with Boldy yesterday. You're just like Matt Boldy. I'm like, right in the lineup.
Yeah. Okay. Like, obviously very nice to get a hat trick pick. It was my first one. Jake pointed out to me, I think it was the first one since the bubble playoffs, I believe, with Tyler Seguin, or either that or the regular season before it. So it was nice to get, but man, I did not realize how popular he was going to be last night. Like, I figured maybe 10% in GPPs and then considerably lower in cash games. I did not see that ownership coming at all. I don't know where it came from, honestly. Like he's a very good player. Have people adjusted that fast to him? I don't know. Like, what's your read on that?
I don't know, because people in our chat are like, what the heck? Like, he was 31% in cash. Like, I didn't get it because he plays 14 minutes a night. He is on power play one, but like, especially in cash, you had someone like Zach Hyman, who is cheaper, playing with McDavid, who plays 19, 20 minutes.
Or Puljujärvi.
So, yeah, Puljujärvi, even cheaper, gets top power play minutes with Connor McDavid. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. Maybe your conviction just moved extra 10%. I don't know.
I'd like to think I have that kind of pull in the NHL sphere, but let's be honest, I really don't. I don't. You said you were telling me before the show you had a good night last night.
Yeah, it could have been better. I went Toronto 1, but I left Bunting off, and then I went full Edmonton 1, and I had a Boldy 1 off. I was debating leaving off Bunting or Hyman for a good, solid time. Made the wrong decision, but that's how it goes in my lineup. I still 4X. We take those. Gonna win the 300Q tonight. Join my pals in Nashville and rock on.
Yeah, exactly. I have full confidence in you taking down that Q here tonight. Yeah, I did. I had a good night last night as well. I went about 7X. I had Minnesota 2 and Toronto 1. The difference was I finished with 170 some points. The difference was I had my decision before the slate started was Seth Jones and Marc-Andre Fleury or Darnell Nurse and Stuart Skinner. I would have got, I think it was like an extra 15 points out of Nurse and Skinner, and that 15 points would have made, a huge difference last night for me. But I mean, not going to get too mad about a 7X night on a 4-game slate, especially where things could have gone completely different, right? Like Winnipeg really didn't play that well. San Jose got blanked. Either one of those chalk spots goes off. It's a completely different ball game last night. So yeah,
Min 2 was kind of weird too, because Boldy had the 5-point night with, I think 4 shots or a 4-point night with 4 shots on goal, and then Fiala didn't have a shot on goal, and Gaudreau maybe had 1 shot on goal, and there was just nothing else with it. It was weird.
Yeah, it was the Minnesota power play that came through. Actually, if you go look at the $20 3 max from last night, Jake won it. Our boss Jake Harry won it. I finished in third. I had Minnesota 2. He had Minnesota power play stack. So he had Eriksson Ek with Boldy, with Spurgeon. So he had a pretty good night last night with that power play stack. So congrats to you, Jake. Jake is I believe is in Las Vegas right now, or at least on his way to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Just going for a little trip here in the middle of the NHL season, just to get a little. No, he's going for business.
No. And, Jack Eichel makes his debut in Vegas tomorrow against the Avs. Is he going? No, it has worked. Boo, 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 boo. Find your way there.
And that's how we feel about Jake skipping Jack Eichel's debut game with Vegas here at Awesemo.com. Not too often you can get away with doing that to your boss on camera. One of the reasons why I really do enjoy working here. We are presented to you by Yahoo Fantasy. They've been our sponsor this entire season. They've been very good to us. If you're new to DFS, if you're new to Yahoo, specifically, if you're a first-time user there, we have some free stuff to give away through Yahoo Fantasy, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Before we get too much further, if you guys could throw us a thumbs up, click that like button. It'll help us get to the top of the algorithm. Click the subscribe button. Those subscriptions really help us out, really help keep growing this channel, help these shows coming on a regular basis across all sports. So please, if you're new here, please click that subscription button and click that bell to get alerts whenever we do go live. We have shows going live almost all day long. Today, we have free premium tools and data up on the site. We do most days. Today is no exception. We have our NBA player projections. We have our NHL player rankings, and we have our PGA golfer rankings as well. So lots to check out, whether you're playing NBA, NHL, or PGA. Up on the site, our NHL player rankings, you can sort by DraftKings and FanDuel, their value, where they're playing, team totals, and things like that. You can do the same thing with the stacks as well. So lots of neat little projections you can get with our NHL DFS rankings. So head on over to Awesemo.com. They are free for everybody to view for today. We have a podcast giveaway we should talk about as well. Head on over to our Awesemo podcast channel. Just give us a 5-star review and leave your Twitter handle or Awesemo username, and you can win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. All right, Josh, we have 9 games to get through today. I just want to mention that there are some teams returning. We'll obviously mention that as we go through each games, but there are teams returning today that haven't played in nearly 2 weeks. All-star break plus last week was just makeup games for some teams. So, New York Rangers, first game in a long time. Los Angeles Kings, first game in a long time. We'll talk about those as we go game by game. Just keep in mind that there are teams. There's one team on the slate tonight that is playing their 5th game in 8 days, and there's another team on the slate tonight that hasn't played in 2 weeks, and they're playing each other. So it's kind of a weird schedule we have going on in the NHL right now. Just keep that in mind. Let's get to this first game. Boston Bruins, 2.7 implied goal total going into New York. The Rangers have a 2.9 implied goal total. The Rangers are one of those teams that had like 13 days off or something like that. We've talked about how a long rest period can be bad for teams. 2 or 3 days off is good, just to get a bit of rest and heal up some nicks. Taking 2 weeks off in the middle of the season can really generate a little bit of rust. I imagine, San Jose only generated 20 shots last night against that Edmonton team, just to kind of give an idea of where we are with teams returning from a long layoff. So Boston seems like they might be in a good spot because the Rangers weren't necessarily playing well, but Boston's still missing Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron. So that really changes things here. What do you see, Josh?
Yeah, the Sharks only generated 20 shots on goal last night, and 11 of them came in the first half of the first period. So, they ran out of gas, immediately. They're just like, wow, we're playing, and we're dead. Kind of like that. I'm hang gliding.
Like a bunch of 4-year-olds in a sugar crash or something like that.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but, the Rangers suck 5-on-5 anyway, so,
yeah, they do.
Are you really going to notice if, they come out flats and be like, oh, same old Rangers, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Lafreniere on the top line is nice, but, Capo Caco is going to be out for a month. I don't really like this top line iteration, especially with double-digit ownership. Getting Hall, Pasternak, Hall, yeah, it's not Bergeron, Marchand, but that line's still pretty decent. And that line, the Rangers top line isn't very good 5-on-5. So I think if I do anything on the Rangers, and I'm very cautious on them, they haven't played in 2 weeks, and they do have some veterans. I know Chris Kreider played in the All-Star game, this and that. Yeah, maybe the rest did him some good, but if you're a young kid like Lafreniere and Cheadle and you're having an up and down season, you just want to keep playing. Like you don't want to sit and dwell about how much you suck. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. Like if I was going to do anything, it would probably be, the second line for the Rangers, Panarin, Strome, Gaudreau. You can leave off Gaudreau, but like Panarin at 5,200, just crazy cheap. Strome 4,700. They're going to get Frederick Coyle Smith. Like it's just not like the Boston top six line that you're used to. And then maybe they can do something 5-on-5 there. Maybe you can power play stack if you want an MME. I don't know. Like I'm very cautious on the Rangers. I know like there was heavy ownership on the Sharks last night and they laid that egg. The Rangers have more to play for than the Sharks do. And the Sharks obviously have some like, Tomas Hertl. Is he going to get traded? Is he going to sign extension? This and that. But I don't know. I'm gonna be cautious on the Rangers. I'd save it for MME. On the Boston side, I think you can go to Boston one here just because it's an ownership thing. They're coming in at 1.5%. Don't really like stacking against Igor, but it has been a 2-week break. That being said, like he came off the COVID list like after a week of being on the list on a West Coast trip and had like a 38 save shutout. So if anyone can shake off the rust, it's probably Igor. But like in MME, 1% top line, Hall, Pasternak against the Rangers, who aren't great at 5-5. I'll take some stabs, but really this game is an MME game for me.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot I like on either side here. One thing I did mention in my Power Plays article, it's up at awesemo.com, free to read for anybody. You don't have to be a subscriber here. And it was about Adam Fox. His price has come down a bit on DraftKings compared to where it was. I think it's $5,700 today, which is $500 cheaper than Jacob Trouba. Now the reason for that was because obviously Fox was injured before the break and Trouba was running the top power play, et cetera, et cetera. Fox should be back on the top power play unit now. Now, normally we don't attack the Boston penalty kill, but Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron are their two best penalty killers, like flat out. This penalty kill, it depends what metric you look at, gets anywhere from 30 to 50% worse when they're off the ice. And that's a huge drop.
And whether you like to admit it or not, the Rangers have a good power play.
Yes, that's the one strength, the one offensive strength of this team is the power play. And Boston, not only are they considerably worse with Bergeron, Marchand off the ice, they're taking a lot of penalties. Over their last 20 games, they have the third most time shorthanded in the NHL. So I think like if you're worried about some super chalk Rangers, which they look like they might be over leveraged, I think you can get away with like a Zibanejad, Panarin, Fox, power play stack or something like that. I think at the least, Fox warrants some one-off consideration here, just in case Boston does get in big penalty trouble and takes, 4, 5, 6 penalties or something like that, and they don't have their elite penalty killers. So that's where I am. Like on the Boston side, there's just not a lot that really interests me. I'd rather play Shesterkin than play a Boston stack, even with the good leverage that we have. It's just that the Boston's top line, I guess, was their second line, now top line. It hasn't been as strong over the last, 100 minutes or so. So, 50% expected goals shared, 51% of the scoring chances. That's really not that much better than the Rangers top line, right? So if you guys want to play some Boston one in your MME, go ahead. I think I will stick with some Rangers power play. On the blue line, like I said, I think Adam Fox makes sense, whether in a power play stack or I think even by himself. This could be like a 3-1 game for the Rangers here where he gets in on a couple goals or something like that. So, I like Fox here. On the Boston side, not really a lot that draws me. What about you?
I'm in full agreement there. If you want to one-off Mike Riley, I think you can do worse, but you probably can do better in the mid-threes than him. So really just Fox, or if Keandre Miller gets bumped down, then Fox back. So there really isn't much outside of Fox on the Rangers too. So
yeah, I agree. Like even Miller just really isn't doing a whole lot with his minutes. All right, let's get to this next game. Philly, 2.2 implied goal total. They're going into Pittsburgh. The Penguins have a 3.9 implied goal total. Looking at our top stacks tool, it looks like Pittsburgh's going to carry some ownership here, but we still have them with good leverage. But it is a lot of ownership. We're talking like 15 to 20% on the top line. So big slate here, 9 games. it's still good leverage. What do you think about that Pittsburgh top line? What do you think about the rest of that game?
Yeah, it's an interesting choice because they're the only top line within the price range of Colorado 1. This is a better matchup than Colorado 1, but and they're cheaper, so I understand why the ownership is a bit higher. But, you're going to have to make the choice. I really do like Pittsburgh 1, fully correlated 21.5, which is reasonable for them. They're in the high 22s not too long ago. They're going to get the Flyers matchup. No Couturier, Carter Hart's been struggling. Defense has been struggling. So, yeah, Pitt 1 definitely one of my favorite plays of the night. You want to move down the lineup. Not really much there. That third line is probably going to be pretty nice against the depth of the Flyers. I do worry about minutes, but you don't really need much at their prices. And if this game gets out of hand, Pittsburgh hangs a 5 spot in the second period and they're up 5-0 going into the third, you can see, Carter, Rodriguez, Heinen getting a little bit more minutes. So I don't mind Pitt 3, high owners or high totals. Chalky spots, you always like going down the lineup. It would be that third line. If you want to include Malkin in a power play stack, I think that's fine. On the Flyer side, I'm out on the Drew line just because they're going to get the Crosby matchup. Don't mind the Van Riemsdyk, Konechny, Lawton line a little bit in MME. I don't think I'll get there in 1-3. It's a 2.2 total on the road. But if you're going to go at any Pittsburgh line, it would be the Malkin line. And that Lawton line has actually been surprisingly good for a Flyers line. So, nothing really much on the Flyers, but in MME, I'd probably take a stab or two on the Flyers second line.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Flyers top line. I think the best thing you can say is that they might be average and average for a top line on the road against Sidney Crosby.
They're expensive tonight too.
Yeah, they're not really, and it's a 2.2 total. I just don't see a whole lot of reason to be super excited about playing the Flyers here tonight. I agree with you. The second line is where I would go. You want to go into that Malkin matchup more than anything, but I honestly think, other than maybe some one-offs, like a one-off Konechny or something like that, I think I'm out on the Flyers. As far as Pittsburgh goes, I did write up Jake Gensel for the Power Plays article, and the reason I wrote him up is he's actually generating good quality scoring chances. His expected goals leads the team since Christmas. So, while Brian Rust has gone absolutely nuclear here of late, Jake Gensel also played very well. So, we say we don't like to leave one person off. I'm going to be playing the three of them as much as I can. I think I would play Gensel over Rust if I had to choose one or the other. But again, I would definitely try to fit in all three wherever I could. The one thing that does concern me is Philly doesn't really take a lot of penalties, and their penalty kill's been better. It struggled early on in the season. I'd say it's come around a lot over the last 5 or 6 weeks, considering where it was. And I'm wondering if 20% Pittsburgh on a 9-game slate might not be chasing something bad, considering they might only get a couple power plays. But again, it's just such a good spot for the Penguins. It's good leverage.
Pitt 1 kind of has gotten bailed out by the empty net their past few games too. So if you're worried about, I don't know, they didn't really do too much the last 2 games 5-on-5, but they got bailed out by empty net full line goals in back-to-back games. We'll see. Really good spot though.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a very good line, right? Let's be serious about that. On the blue line, Michael Matheson generating some peripherals of late. He's only 3K. Ivan Provorov, 6,600. I don't know what's going on there. There's nobody I want to play on the Philly side.
Honestly, there's nothing on the Philly side. I think if you want to play Pitt 1, you can correlate with Chang if you find a cheap line that you can pair him with. Matheson's fine. He wants some block shots. Brian Dumoulin, but I don't know how much the Flyers are really going to be creating tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Not a whole lot for me from the Flyers side. Let's get to this next game. Islanders, 3.2 implied goal total going into Buffalo. The Sabres have a 2.3 implied goal total. This is one of those games where, 2.3 total, Islanders 3.2 on the road. This wouldn't have surprised me if this was a game a year ago. But these two teams have been a lot closer, I think, this year than they have been at any point in the last 5. And the Islanders have really struggled to score. it's not like they're getting blanked, game in and game out, but they're not putting up monster fantasy performances, let's say. They have a 6-goal game a couple of games ago, but other than that, that's the only time they've scored more than 4 goals in their last 20 some games. So I don't know how much I want to get to the Islanders here unless it's super cheap players. What do you think about this game, Josh?
Yeah, I don't believe these totals. I think the Islanders total should be lower. The Sabres total should be higher. For whatever reason, Vegas has been fluffing the Islanders all season. Who am I to judge? But if you want to fluff the Islanders in your private time, you can fluff the Islanders in your private time. But you wonder why they don't have these big games. You got Cal Clutterbuck on the top line. Yeah, Bailey Nelson, Beauvillier. They've been awful this year. JJ Pudgell, Wallstrom have been pretty good, but they have a boat anchor and Parisi on the line. Kyle Palmieri's back, so who knows what the lines are going to be. I don't know. Not super enthusiastic about the Islanders tonight. If anything, it would be JG Pajot Wallstrom. And that's really about it just because they're cheap, but they're going to be over leveraged. We see them coming in over in double digits. I don't want to play double digit third line Islanders on a 9-game slate. It just is what it is. I really like the Buffalo top line tonight, and they're coming in 6-7%. And I think that's perfectly fine. They're fully correlated. Skinner's coming off that 5-point game. Thompson didn't really do too much. Tuck had a really good game, but at home, Tage Thompson has been a bit better than he has been on the road. It just is what it is. He shoots more at home. I don't know. Numbers don't lie, but I really do like that Buffalo top line. They're not very expensive. They're 14-4 to full stack, fully correlated, coming in at 6%. I think that's perfectly fine. If you believe the 2.3 total, then you probably believe that most of that 2.3 is going to come from the top line. So either way, Buffalo 1 is in play for me. And on the Islanders, I just don't really like anything. And the players I do like are coming in way over leveraged.
So this is kind of where I'm at with Buffalo. It's that the Islanders have a very, very good penalty kill and they don't take penalties. That's something that we brought up on shows before. And I'm wondering if that's not a big factor here for Buffalo. But the thing is, it's not as if Buffalo relies on their power play for a huge production. Alex Tuck has 7 points in his last 5 games, and none of them have come on the power play. So it's one of those games where I didn't X Buffalo 1 out of my lineup. If I get to them, I get to them. I'm not going to force them in this particular situation. That's fair. There's something that's really kind of throwing me off about this game. So even though I like the ownership numbers on Buffalo 1, they project reasonably well by both my numbers and by Awesemo's. I don't know if I'm going to be super gung-ho on Buffalo 1 in this game. It just feels like with that 2.3 total sitting there, it just feels like I'm missing something. And before I jump in with 20% Buffalo 1 or something like that, I'm going to have to dig a lot deeper because right now I just don't see a reason to play them. I agree with you on the Islanders third line. Pajot and Wallstrom have generally been good together. And by good, I mean, quote unquote, Islanders good. About 2.9 expected goals per 60 minutes, scoring 2.8 actual goals per 60 minutes, both well above average, both just fine. So Pajot and Wallstrom, especially on that Islanders third line for me, is where I'm focusing in this game. If people want to use Buffalo 1, go right ahead. But I'm going to take some pieces from that Islanders third line instead. On the blue line, Noah Dobson's peripherals just absolutely will not go away. He's relatively expensive at 5,500, but I'm wondering, is that too expensive if he's the guy now on the blue line? I'm not particularly targeting anybody here, but Dobson just kind of piqued my interest. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't mind Dobson if you happen to get there. That's really about it on the Islanders side. On the Buffalo side, if you're playing Buffalo, I think, Dahlin obviously makes some sense. If you're punting, I think there's some options with Joki Harju getting big minutes. Whether he does stuff with those minutes to be determined. Also, Casey Fitzgerald, min price. I like him as a punt.
All right. With Daytona right around the corner, we are offering Awesemo Plus NASCAR packages for less than $2 per cup race this season. That's $70 for a full year of Awesemo Plus NASCAR. This pass gives you access to our driver projections, our ownership projections, our top drivers tool, and it'll give you the edge you need in NASCAR DFS. Just use the promo code GREENFLAG, all capital letters, all one word. That's GREENFLAG at checkout, or simply click the link in the description of this video to activate. This offer is valid through this coming Sunday, February 20th. That's promo code GREENFLAG, all capital letters, all one word at checkout. $70 for a full year of Awesemo Plus NASCAR. That is less than $2 per cup race this season. All right, let's get to this next game here, Josh. We got Tampa Bay going into New Jersey. The Tampa Bay Lightning have a 3.8 total. The New Jersey Devils have a 2.3 total. I know there was some talk that Dougie Hamilton may return for the game tonight. It doesn't look like he's going to return. He's been skating with the team, but they said he's not quite comfortable playing with that broken jaw and with the pieces that, on his helmet that he's going to have to play with or whatever. And this is the only game that the Devils have to play this week. They don't play another game until, I think, next Wednesday. So I think they're just going to give Dougie Hamilton, 8 more days off to rest, and he's not in tonight. That, along with Jesper Bratt, might be why we're seeing New Jersey with a 2.3 total here. They have some nice pieces, but I think both Bratt and Hamilton is a little bit too much for this team to overcome, especially considering who they're playing.
Yeah, I have to wonder if, since they put Zacha, Hischier, Tatar together, they're probably going to go out and see some Point Kucherov.
Oh, yes, they are.
Which actually, it's better than, Hischier, Hughes, Sharangovich. So I don't know. They're actually putting their best line out against. Doesn't really matter though. I do like Tampa 1 tonight. You want to leave Plot off, that's fine. Point Kucherov, Hedman, nice little 3-man. You want to add in, Killorn instead of Plot for some power play. Devils have a pretty decent penalty kill. They're missing Dougie. They don't have Blackwood. It is what it is. Definitely hurts their penalty kill. If you want a power play stack the Lightning, go for it. I'm either going to go Tampa 1 or Tampa power play. On the Devil side, with Hischier taking point, I do have some interest in Hughes, Sharangovich, Mercer, because they're going to get the Killorn, Stamkos, Joseph matchup. I don't know if I get to them in 1 to 3, but they are cheap enough. They're like 11-2 to full stack that you can, if I was going to go heavy Colorado 1, they'd definitely be in the mix of stacks I would mix in with Colorado 1, just because that Killorn, Stamkos, Joseph line isn't anything special. It is Vasilevsky, but Jack Hughes has really come into his own this season. I like Mercer. Sharangovich won't kill you. Power play correlation isn't great, but it doesn't really matter against the Lightning. So Tampa 1, Tampa power play, and an MME, maybe some Devils 1.
So the thing with Jack Hughes that bothers me tonight is his numbers this season have not been very good with Jesper Bratt injured. When he's playing with Jesper Bratt, the team has nearly 60% expected goal share. When he's not playing with Jesper Bratt, that falls to under 48%. It's just a cataclysmic drop-off. And he has, I like Dawson Mercer on that line. It's just, I know the Tampa second line isn't super strong defensively, but, is Hughes and Mercer going to be any better than Killorn and Stamkos? And I'm not so sure it will be. That's kind of the one thing, because that's the one thing keeping me from playing that Hughes line, because that's one of the spots I was considering today. It was either playing Hughes or playing the Tampa Bay second line. And where I ended up was on the Tampa Bay second line, Stamkos, Killorn, Joseph. The reason for that is they're going to get that Hughes line. And I'm a believer that Bratt has just had a phenomenal season and has really carried a lot of people. Hughes is great. I don't know if he can carry a line by himself just yet. So I'm definitely interested in Stamkos on that second line, Stamkos and Killorn, Stamkos and Joseph, whatever you want to do with it. They generate a lot. They give up a lot, as you mentioned, not great defensively, but they also generate a fair amount on their own. So yeah, I'll go in on Tampa 2. Tampa 1, just fine. Tampa power play stack, just fine as well, but it's Tampa 2. I want to get that good matchup against the Hughes line. On the blue line, Ryan Graves, I guess, might be fine at his price for, maybe he hits the block bonus on DraftKings plus an assist or something like that. Uh, Damon Severson, he's been on a tear, but it's been all points driven, and I'm not sure I want to play him in particular here tonight. What do you think about defense? Oh, Eric Chernak back for Tampa as well. What do you think about defensemen?
Yeah, Eric Chernak, min price on DraftKings as well. So there you go. McDonough 3,400 is also fine. If you think you need some shot blockers from the Devils, like Graves is fine. If you need to dump all the way down to Jonas Siegenthaler, I think that's also fine.
All right, let's move this along then. St. Louis, 3.5 implied goal total. Ottawa, 2.6 implied goal total. Lots of injuries on the Ottawa side. Obviously, Josh Norris and Drake Batherson still out. Looks like Thomas Chabot is going to be out tonight as well. That is, those are three pretty big losses for this team. On the flip side, I wrote about St. Louis's top line struggles indirectly today in the Power Plays article. You know, O'Reilly and Shen have really struggled this season, but this is a very good matchup going into Ottawa with all those injuries. What do you think about both sides here, Josh?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm playing one lineup tonight. I just don't know if I can just plug in Ryan O'Reilly, Braden Shen with their struggles. If I was going to go to a Blues line, it'd be that second line, Buchnevich, Thomas Tarasenko, fully correlated. That power play unit has been better anyway. This is a pretty good power play spot. Matt Murray has been playing very well, though. But, you know, it's still the Senators. They're missing Chabot, which is going to be a big loss for them. Like, Meat Sweats going to the top line with Zaitsev, that's just not going to do it. That's just... Oof. So, like, yeah, like, if you want to play St. Louis one, like, I'm not going to tell you no, because if any spot is going to get them going tonight, it's this one. But for me, I'm on the St. Louis second line, Buchnevich, Thomas Tarasenko. Like, their pricing has come down. They're under 15K to full stack. Their ownership's in check. It's a pretty good matchup, so why not? And then on the Senators side, I think if I was going to go, I just don't know, because like Chabot is such a good puck mover. Like, who's going to move the puck on this blue line?
No one.
Brandstrom, like, he's going to play like 12 minutes on the third pair. Yeah, he's top power play, but like I just worry that they're going to struggle in transition, getting out of their own zone. So like, yeah, in like theory, I like, you know, Brady Tkachuk, Nick Paul, Connor Brown, but you know, if they're hemmed into their own zone and trying to get out, who's going to get them up the ice? Same with, you know, Formenton, Stützle, Gaudette. Like, I'm fine in MME going to, you know, Sens 1 or Sens 2. I just worry about with Chabot out, who plays like half the game when everyone's healthy anyway. Like, who's going to, you know, transition the puck up the ice? It's a big concern with me with the Canuck or the Senators tonight.
Yeah, it is a very good point about Chabot. He is by far their best puck mover. They rely on him a lot to do that. This is what I wrote about the St. Louis top line in the Power Plays article, posted at Awesemo.com. Anybody can head over there to read it. With Braden Shen and Ryan O'Reilly on the ice this season, they're controlling just 44% of the expected goals and are allowing 3.4 goals against per 60 minutes at 5-on-5. It's been the case for just about every top line combination that Ryan O'Reilly has played on this year. They've just been struggling all season long. And that's why I wrote up Connor Brown in his line in the Power Plays article this morning. It's, you know, Connor Brown and company are going to play like 23 minutes tonight against that St. Louis line. And I agree with you. The puck moving could be a problem, but like, it's not like St. Louis's top line has been able to generate anything either. So just by sheer volume of minutes and cheap prices, you know, Nick Paul, Connor Brown, whatever you want. I think they're in a decent matchup against that St. Louis top line, but it is the St. Louis second line that's in the best matchup of anybody here in this game. Like you said, the prices have come down. They're under 15K on DraftKings. As you said, ownership well in check. St. Louis 2, generating 34 scoring chances per 60 minutes this year, controlling 61% of the scoring chances. They're just an excellent line. So I really do like St. Louis 2 in this game. Don't mind a bit of Ottawa 1, you know, the Brown-Paul line, if you want to get into that Ryan O'Reilly matchup that I don't think is as bad as it appears. On the blue line, you know, obviously Brandstrom's power play 1, then 2,500 power play 1 Brandstrom. No issues by me. Justin Falk 4,100. I guess might be fine in this matchup. What else?
Yeah, I just don't like the power. Like, if you're using the St. Louis second line, Torrey Krug is the power play quarterback of that line. It's just like, I don't really want to play Torrey Krug. So I don't know. Yeah, Falk is fine if you're using the top line of 4,100. It might be fine as a one-off either, too. I mean, Colton Parayko, 4,700, kind of no man's land. But if you happen to get to him, you get to him. On the Senators side, Brandstrom and Price, top power play. I think that makes sense. I do worry about his minutes at 5-on-5 a little bit, though, being down on that third pair. We'll see, though. But at min price, like, I'd rather play Brandstrom 99 out of 100 times than Chris Weidman. So, you can do that. Meat Sweat's top pair 2,500 or Zaitsev 3,100 is fine, I guess. I'm just not super enthusiastic about the Senators tonight.
Yeah. Me neither. I agree with that. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you played in your first paid contest, and we will reach out via email with your coupon. If you'd like to speed up the process of getting access, email support@awesemo.com. We'll get you set up right away. You can also claim a free $10 of site credit by clicking the link in the video description below, and that can be used to enter any Yahoo contest, including tonight's $5,000 NHL Baller. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. All right, let's move it along to our next game. Washington, 2.8 implied goal total. Going into Nashville, the Predators have a 3.2 implied goal total. Looks like they're putting Evgeny Kuznetsov back on the top line with Alex Ovechkin, where he had been most of the season. They had Nick Backstrom up there for a couple games, I believe, but Kuznetsov back on the top line with Ovechkin. Nick Cousins hurt for Nashville on the other side. I assume Eli Tolvanen slides on the second line. I haven't seen anything from Nashville beat writers in over a week, so I don't know what to expect in that game. Or on that team. I wrote about the Washington power play in the power play column over at Awesemo.com, and there's a very good reason for that. Why would I write about the Washington power play, Josh?
I don't know, but that's where I am on this game too. And the Caps are getting no ownership right now. So I was like, getting to this game, I was like, man, am I missing something? Am I dumb? Like, is Ovechkin out? Like, is this game in Canada? Did Nashville get moved to Canada? But like, it's not. The Caps are expensive, but like, Nashville's penalty kill, one of the worst in the league. They've just been bailed out consistently by Saros. So I think Washington power play stack is my favorite stack in this game. You want to leave off Wilson, add in, Nick Backstrom. Like, you've talked about it since Nick Backstrom back. Like, he's a very important piece of that power play. So if they're going to score some power play goals, usually goes through him. So any 3, 4, 5-man power play stack for me on the Capital side is where I'm going to go in this game. I'm not super interested in Nashville one tonight. I see them coming in with very high ownership. They're over leveraged. They just haven't been great the past month. Their prices have come down, but they just haven't been great. And it's not like the Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, Wilson line has been bad defensively. Like, they've been fairly decent. So like, all in all, this like isn't the best matchup. Yeah, they have a 3.2 total, and if you believe in that line, Forsberg's 5,800. It's Tuesday. He apparently only hat tricks on Tuesday, according to Twitter. So yeah, you can go and do Nashville 1 and MME like 1 to 3. I'm just out on Nashville 1. I'm all about the Caps power play tonight, and I'm really liking the ownership on these Caps.
Yeah. Very, very large ownership numbers on Nashville 1. As you mentioned, one of the biggest negative leverages that we have by our top stacks tool on the entire slate. So it is real tough just to kind of slam in a whole bunch of Nashville, especially where like all of Washington's issues seem to be driven by just poor goaltending every now and then. It's not necessarily that they're playing bad. And I hate stacking in those situations because like you're relying on percentages like to win every night anyway, but it just seems like especially dicey in those situations. So I'm going to be out on all that Nashville ownership. I'm in on Washington power play. I wanted to mention, we mentioned this in prior shows, but the actual numbers bear it out. The Washington power play is just night and day compared when Backstrom is there to when he's not. Like, we're talking about an extra 2 goals per 60 minutes, or 2 to 3 goals, 2 to 3 expected goals generated per 60 minutes. Like, it is a big difference. So Washington power play for me in that game. On the blue line, there's nobody, like, except for the expensive guys, there's nobody that I'm really running out to play out of this game. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm on the same page there. Like, yeah, there's some guys like Fabro or Favorari, but like, you can do better.
Yes, you can. Next game.
Caught you mid sip of H2O there.
Yeah, no problem. What I need one of those hats. That's what I'm gonna get from now on. I'm just gonna get a hat, and you're gonna have to trust me that I'm not drinking during the day, during every single show. Columbus, 2.3 implied goal total going into Calgary. The Flames have a 3.8 implied goal total. Big news here, obviously, is Tyler Toffoli being traded to Calgary yesterday, but he's not in the player pool. He's supposed to slate on the third line with Sean Monahan and Dylan Dubé, but again, not in player pool, so you don't have to worry about him. It's a matter of, does this change the top power play unit? Here's my thinking, is that they've left Sean Monahan on the top power play basically the entire season. They've taken him off for a game here or there, but it's basically just been him. And they've refused to use Andrew Mangiapane at any point on the top power play unit. So if they're not going to use Mangiapane, I don't know why they would run out and slam into Toffoli in the very first game. Especially where Toffoli and Monahan play different hands, right? Toffoli's right-handed shot and Monahan is left. Like, if you're really changing a lot about a power play, a very good power play, mind you, to slam into Toffoli. So I'm not sure that's going to happen. Obviously, going to be a lot to like on the Calgary side here. What do you like, Josh?
Yeah, I think, Toffoli will slot into that second power play and either take Hanifin or Shillington's spot, but that's neither here nor there because he is not in player pool tonight. The last time these two teams played, the Calgary Flames had a franchise record 62 shots on goal, and Elvis Merzlikins still had 21 DK points, despite giving up 6 goals. Now, nothing really has changed, except this game has moved to Canada. And Dan Vladash is in, not Markstrom, but it is Merzlikins. Another thing is, like, Makachuk, 6K. Like, Calgary 1 has been, like, they haven't slowed down at all, and they inexplicably just lowered the pricing on them. They're 20K to full stack. This is a great spot. Yeah, maybe they're going to avoid, like, I would imagine Mangiapane back in Coleman see a fair bit of Line, but, like, it, like, doesn't matter that Gaudreau, Lindholm, Kachuk aren't going to see Line. They're still going to see, like, Nyquist, Corrali, Domi, which isn't great defensively anyway. Like, I don't know. Really like Calgary 1 tonight. I really like Calgary 2 as a filler. Play if you want to prioritize Calgary 1, prioritize Calgary 1. If you're prioritizing, Pittsburgh or Colorado, then you can use Calgary 2 as a filler. So that's where I am on the Flames. On the Jackets side, not the best matchup for me. 2.3 total on the road. If you want to get to some Bjorkstrand and Jenner Line and 150 max, that's fine. You want to have 1 of 20 and 20 max, you're going to 5x the field. I guess that's fine. But really, this is a Flames game for me.
Yeah, I'm just not going to argue with either of the top 6 lines for Calgary. I'm going to say it just depends what you want to do with the rest of your lineups. Both lines are over 60% expected goal share since Christmas. Like, what are we even talking about here? It's ridiculous. So both in great spots. It just depends what you want to do with the rest of your lineup. I'll say personally, I'm using Calgary 2 more as a filler here on this slate than I am using Calgary 1 as a primary stack, but both absolutely fine in this game. It's the Columbus side that we probably should talk about a little bit, but, like, I don't know if I play them except in 20 max 150s. Like, I wouldn't play them in 1 to 3. I have them, like, not X'd out in my 20 max, but I'm not slamming them in either. It's like, if they get in, then they get in, but I'm not going to be going out of my way to play Columbus 1 because I think I'd rather just one off. I'd rather just one off Line A or one off Bjorkstrand or something like that, because I think if they do any damage, it'll be on the power play. And if it's the damage on the power play, then I want to get the goal scorers like Line A and like Backstrom and like Bjorkstrand in my lineup. So maybe one offing those guys, but it's about the Calgary top six. On the blue line, Noah Hannafin, his peripherals really jumped up of late. Don't mind him. I always also play Oliver Shillington. Anybody else in this game?
Hannafin, I think, is the guy. Like Tanev's up to 3,300 now. I prefer to play him when he's under 3K. If you want to still go there, that's fine. Zach Werenski, 7,300 out of nowhere. Like, sure. Like, yeah, not for me. Even their shot blocking guys are in the mid 3Ks now, so I'm probably going to take a pass. Whoa.
Absolutely wild. Werenski's the second most expensive defenseman on a slate that has Roman Josi, Victor Hedman, Chris Letang, and Cale Makar.
Yep. Like, sure, DraftKings, sure.
we have an Awesemo Hall of Fame here at Awesemo.com, where we like to celebrate any and all winners. Well, not all. We like to celebrate a lot of winners here at Awesemo. The winners we celebrate are the ones that follow these instructions to get into the Awesemo Hall of Fame. You download the Awesemo avatar from awesemo.com/avatar. You finish in the top 3 of a contest with at least 5,000 contestants, and you tweet those wins to the Awesemo Hoff account on Twitter. That's Awesemo HOF on Twitter. You do all that, and you can win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. You can only win 1 free month per year, but a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, not a bad deal for winning some money on your own. You'll see Mantis Toboggan split first and a 25 max entry, but finally tweet this alias, split first, 12K NBA, looks like on Sunday. You see Yogi, loyal sub, took down first place, split of first. Yahoo NFL $1 million big game baller. Congrats to you, Yogi. See Marcus Pfizer saying, I'd rather be lucky than good. Thanks to Ship My Money for providing great YouTube content. Took down 20K, first place in the NBA Micro Millions. And a couple top threes, says Ben P, 34, $100 in the quarter. Jukebox over at NBA, $20 at the 1K piggy bank, also in NBA. Lots of NBA winners. If you want to get in the Awesemo Hall of Fame, it's Awesemo. Awesemo.com/avatar. Download the avatar, have it as your DFS avatar, and place in the top 3 of any contest with at least 5,000 contestants. All right. We got 2 more games to get through, Josh. Let's get through these games. Dallas going into Colorado. Dallas has a 2.4 implied goal total going into face the Avs. The Avs have a 3.7 implied goal total. Obviously, Nathan McKinnon back on the top line for the Avs. Everybody back into their normal slotting. What do you think about this game, Josh?
This is an interesting game. You don't get Colorado 1 low owned too often, whether you think this is going to be the ownership. Even if you bump it up to 15, I think that's low ownership for Colorado 1. There is a bunch of mid-priced stacks that you can pair with them tonight. I do really like Colorado 1. They are going to get a tough matchup in Hintz, Pavelski, Robertson. That line has just been really, really good all season. But McKinnon's matchup proof. I think getting to some Colorado 1, especially in MME at low ownership, is very, very good. I really like Colorado 2 here. And yeah, Kadri at 8K is kind of crazy, but he's having a career year, whether you like him or not. He's having an excellent season. Nishushkin and Burakovsky are very cheap. You're going to get Sagan, Ben-Gurionov, and as good as Sagan, Ben-Gurionov have been offensively, they've been equally as not great defensively. They're very high event, so this is a good matchup for Colorado 2. You're going to get them at well-depressed ownership of Colorado 1 just because Kadri's so expensive. If you want to go to Colorado 1, perfectly fine. You want to go, but for me, I'm going to go Colorado 2 here. I just like the ownership. I like the matchup. And then on the Dallas side, not super interested in anything. I'd probably get to a little bit of Dallas 1. The more lineups I was making 20 to 150.
Yeah, I really do like both top lines in this game. And a lot of it is the ownership. You look at our leverage, Colorado 1 and Dallas 1, both amongst the 5 lines with the best leverage on today's slate. and you like if you're playing Colorado or Dallas one, you don't, and you're in 20 max, 150 max, whatever. You don't need a lot. 2 out of 20 lines for your Dallas one is just fine. If you're playing 150 max, like 10 out of 150 is way over the field. So you don't need a lot, and it's one of the best lines in hockey. So like I think even in 1 to 3, I think Dallas one should at least be considered. I'm not saying they should be at the top of the list, but at least be considered. I like the spot for Colorado 2 in particular. Dallas's second line is generating a lot of offense, but they're also giving up a lot at the other end of the ice. And 3.2 expected goals against per 60 minutes is kind of just indicative of that. And Colorado's second line has just been really, really good this year, all season long. So I think Colorado 2 is just fine for a stack here. We have them with positive leverage as well. So yeah, I'm in on Colorado 2, kind of as a little filler stack. On the blue line, I mean, if they're not going to price up Devin Taves, I'm going to keep playing Devin Taves at 5,100 or whatever it is. Gerard, I think, just fine. Makar, obviously, also just fine, 6,700. I think Heiskanen's just fine as well at 4,400. Lots of defensemen I like in this game.
Yep, I agree. Devin Taves probably my favorite from this game. Makar, obviously, if you're doing Colorado 1. Gerard's fine if you can't get up to either of those guys. Miro Heiskanen, 4,400. Very low price. Like, maybe he's not the best DFS player, but he is an elite defenseman in the NHL. Whether you want to argue with me or Cliffy or whatever, you want to fight about it. He is very, very good. Does it translate to DFS? Sometimes not, but at 4,400, I'm willing to take that chance.
He's good enough where he can 5 times a year, he can generate a DFS winning night by himself. That's kind of what he does. That's why I do like him. Coming up after us, not right after us, but later on in the day, the No House Advantage NBA Strategy Show with Eitan and Terry. That starts in about 1 hour's time. Then the NBA Prop Show after, and then right after them at 5:30 Eastern, your NBA double dose of the deeper dive and live before lock starts. All right, let's get to this last game, Josh. Edmonton has a 3.2 implied goal total. They're going to Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Kings have a 3.3 implied goal total. Edmonton's playing a back-to-back, second game in as many nights, back-to-back on the road, and it's also their 5th game in 8 days. Los Angeles, meanwhile, is one of those teams that's had like 12 or 13 days off. They are plenty rested, but they also could be rusted. I brought up Los Angeles 2 in my Power Plays article. I really like them as a filler stack here tonight. I'm not going to go too much deeper on either of the other sides other than to say Los Angeles 2, one of my favorite filler stacks on the entire slate.
Yeah, I do worry about their time off, but again, you like to target these 5 and 8s back-to-back on the road, especially against Kane, Draisaitl, Yamamoto. They create a lot, but holy moly, do they give up a lot as well. And going to give up that much to arguably the best line in terms of like creating chances, nitrous. Like I love Danault, Arvidsson. Like, I don't know. You want to include Trevor Moore? You can. It's just, again, same worries I have with the Rangers. The reason I like the Kings a little bit more is Edmonton's a worse team than the Bruins. They're 5 and 8 back-to-back on the road, and they're getting a matchup that is just like, it's just full send. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying go all in on them, but if you do like the Kings, this is the spot for LA too.
Yeah. LA too, we should remind everybody just how good they've been, like north of 4 expected goals per 60 minutes. They're scoring, I think, like 3.6 or 3.7 on the season as a whole per 60 minutes. And they're giving a little bit more run to the second power play unit of late. And that entire second line is on the second power play unit. Getting a little bit of power play time makes a big difference because this had typically just been a 5-on-5 line for the entire season. So yeah, do like Los Angeles too. Should mention real quick, good top stack numbers on Edmonton too. So if you think LA is going to be real rusted in this game, 3.2 total for the Oilers, and they're coming in with single digit ownerships. Just keep that in the back of your mind. All right. One defenseman sticks out to me in this. 2 defensemen, actually. Matt Roy might be back, so I don't mind Matt Roy, 3,100. Anybody else stick out to you?
Particularly, I always like punting Oli Mata at mid price. Why is Tyson Berry back on the top pair? Like, nothing really too much on the Oilers side. If you do happen to have 6,500 laying around, I do like Darnell Nurse tonight.
Yeah, like him most nights, actually. All right, we got to get out of here. Josh, I'm going to ask you for your hat trick picks and your goalies. My hat trick pick, coming from the game we just talked about, my hat trick pick for tonight is Victor Arvidsson. My goalies, I like both goalies in the Boston Rangers game. I like both Shesterkin and Swayman. Matt Murray at home for Ottawa. Darcy Kemper, if you're paying up a little bit. Actually, Francouz, sorry. I think Francouz is starting. So Francouz, if you're paying up a little bit. Anybody else?
You want to take a stab on Mr. Lickens again at 7K, but like the goalies you mentioned are the ones I was going to mention. I'll just add on Lickens if you want, a high-speed card chase before the Daytona 500. And then my hat trick pick is going to be Pavel Buchnevich.
Oh, I like it. Pavel Buchnevich, Victor Arvidsson, your hat trick picks for tonight. We got to get out of here. For producer Tyler, for Josh Harris, I'm Michael Clifford saying good luck tonight, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.